Nerd Tutorial Podcast, a podcast offering discussions and tutorials on nerdy subjects for people who aren't necessarily nerdy themselves. With today is myself, your nerdy tutor George, and with me here today as well, my WWE Champion and Gunpla Master Maker, my mom.
Hey.
So, we're picking up where we left off last week, where we were building this we're building this RX-78-2 Gundam, the original Gundam. We had just finished with the legs, which are, again, very cool. I mean, like, they move around. There's so much articulation in these legs at the end of the day that they're just kind of impressive on a certain level.
They're very, not on a certain level, they're just plain impressive.
So we're going to continue with that. But while we were gone, we also watched some WWE as well.
We went and saw them in person.
Ooh, they're always so exciting when they're in person.
We lose a piece?
Nope, we're good.
We're good, okay.
Alrighty, so
we're going to talk WWE while we're doing this.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
So we are going to start building the waist here. So we are on this. So we're going to be working with this set here. Now it does tell us the model,
waist unit.
The runners that we need. So
we need all of them.
It feels like we need all of them.
We need all of them. Okay.
Probably feels like we need a lot.
Okay.
So
we're going to start with
E1 and E2. So I have E1 right here, or E2 right here, and E1 is right here.
And we are going for piece 27.
Yes, for both sides.
So how did you feel about this particular round of WWE? We were on the opposite side, so we were back behind. We're sort of parallel to the announcers.
The hard camera. Yeah. We were parallel probably to the hard cameras. I thought we got good seats at the end of the day.
I enjoyed those seats, and compared to last time, I thought there were less signs. It was very cool. I think it was a cool lineup.
Did you get the E1 part here as well?
Oh,
okay. It's telling you you're going to build two of them here.
Oh, okay. Okay. Here we go. So 27.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how did you feel about this particular lineup?
I was excited to see it. I always find I haven't seen the Smackdown roster in a little bit here. They did from when we saw it, they did a shakeup in. They did kind of a bit of a shakeup here. Back in September when they were moving to Fox, so they kind of changed up some of their lineup here. So you want F7.
Okay.
And that's these pieces up here.
Okay. Oh. Okay, so there's two of them?
Yes. And, I enjoyed it. I hadn't seen Bray Wyatt the Fiend just yet, and we actually got to see him at one point.
In person, he's creepy.
Yes, intentionally, I believe.
Well, yeah, intentionally. Creepy, sort of Joker-like creepy.
Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely agree with that here. I found him to be bizarre, if anything, actually.
But that was that was the main event, and that was over very, very quickly, like altogether too quickly. We need D.
Did you get D already? Oh.
I don't have D.
Here's your 1, so these are the D parts right here.
D1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. Or
25 and 20, so 25 and 25.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, usually when they're doubled up like that, they do
that.
I love the Fiend's look. Again, they're trying to make him the new Undertaker as far as this menacing sort of creature in the show. And they've been trying to do that ever since he came on the scene originally. With semi-mixed results.
Well, why do you say semi-mixed results?
Because his former version was the former version of Bray Wyatt was kind of like trying to find the best way to describe him. You ever watch Cape Fear, Robert De Niro in Cape Fear?
Yeah.
That's what he was going for.
Okay, and you don't think they got that?
Well, no, I think that they got it. I mean, he had like a really cool, bizarre gimmick, and he was certainly very appealing and weird, and kind of like mysteriously weird as this like cult leader almost. But like they never just let him be the bad guy, really, or they never let him shine as the absolute bad guy. Is the better way to put that. a lot of it was for him. It was very much, yes, I'm an evil guy, and then he keeps getting beat up all the time. So it's in opposition to the Undertaker, where the Undertaker would get beat up, but it was almost impossible to put him down and beat him. Bray Wyatt, you would build him up. Yeah, I'm an ultimate bad guy. I'm a real big bad guy. Then he would just get beat, that next week.
Well, okay, but that match was like forgettably close or short.
Yeah, but that's also to kind of build up that the Fiend is this. It was a dark match as well, so it's like it doesn't really make any difference at the end of the day
because it's not
being televised. Yeah, so in a lot of cases here, it's very much the WWE basically going around and saying like, this doesn't really matter, but you're going to get a good show at the end of the day, and it's all in the intent to make him look oppressive and powerful and ominous at the end of the day. You need some help there?
God, I'm trying.
Yeah, let me get half those pieces here.
Okay, so I got that goes there, right? That goes there.
Yes, that would appear to go there. And then let me get one of the other box pieces.
I don't know if I gave you the right one. Is there two?
No, that's okay. Usually if there's two, there's probably going to... Yeah, there we go. Kind of like that.
Okay.
And again, we'll have to do it with this
part
here.
Oh, I see. From the drawing, I wasn't getting that was supposed to lay flat. Okay, got it. Okay. I'm a little slow on the uptake.
It's okay. It's all right. And then we need and then the next piece here we need is A20.
And that's one of those little dots that goes...
Well, thankfully this is a yellow piece.
A19 and 20.
A19 and 20? Well, keep in mind, we're just doing this one part right here right now. We'll eventually need 19 here in literally seconds thereafter.
Okay.
But
okay. You're right, because I have to build two. Okay. So you got my two little guys there. Okay.
These little guys.
Thank you.
And then I'm going to try to... Let's see here. We have...
So what was your favorite part of the event?
Good question. I liked... I enjoyed seeing the New Day, because I always enjoy the New Day. They're fun, and they're excitable, and they're always full of energy in a lot of cases. I wish I got to see more of them.
I was excited we got to see the Orsa brothers.
Are the Uso brothers?
Uso brothers.
Yep.
There we go.
And they had a nice long match as well.
Yeah, so that was fun to watch.
Let's see. I liked the four-way... I liked the women's four-way match at the very end.
That was fun.
Yeah, I thought that was nice and fun, and I liked how Carmella, who is actually back in NXT, was a very good friend of Bayley's originally.
Yeah.
The two of them are still very good friends, actually.
I thought I saw them tag teaming at one time.
They have before in the past. So there's a part of those pieces there. Let me get these ones.
Oh, we're doing the other side.
Yes. Because the skirts, I guess the skirt is reversible.
Ooh.
Well, I mean, not in that sense.
It's not a fancy print on the other side?
No.
Sorry, I had to ask.
Well, I mean, it is white and yellow. I mean, like, that's fairly fancy, I would assume. But no, Carmella was friends with Bayley, and Carmella's been portrayed as a heel in the past.
Okay.
But, I mean, and she's had a run with the WWE title before. I would have much rather seen Natalya or somebody else on there get that position.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I like seeing when new wrestlers get opportunities. At the end of the day, I don't, as much as I love the fan favorites like Bayley and Sasha and people like that, I always much rather prefer seeing new people get their opportunities.
Well, and I thought some of the dark, or they called the dark round.
The dark matches.
Dark matches. I enjoyed seeing that. I hadn't understood that those would be after sort of the televised gig.
Usually they're not. Again, sometimes they're at the beginning, and then in this case they were at the end. I really enjoyed the Lucha Brothers, not the Lucha Brothers, but the 205 guys at the end of the day.
Now, which ones were those? Remind me.
Those were the lightweight guys that flew around a lot.
Oh, that was fun.
Because, again...
They're much more gymnastics. Acrobatic?
Definitely acrobatic. Yeah, they were just flying around that ring.
Yeah.
Left, right, and center.
Again, I'm enjoying that this is sort of two-toned. They're not the same shade of...
It's almost three-toned here when you take the white is two-toned, but...
Yeah, there's two shades of white.
And then you've got these yellow panel marks here.
And sometimes most of the time they stick on really, really well. This one's not sticking on quite as well. Most of the time they click nicely. It's definitely where it goes. And getting better at this. So what, were you disappointed in anything?
I would have liked to have seen the way they introduced the tag team element. I would have rather had seen like the tag team. I would have rather seen the tag team elements of the New Day being used in some sort of way. I was a little disappointed that they didn't really get used at all at the end.
Okay.
Before.
Well, and the tag team matches that we saw, especially the male tag team, I wasn't all that
impressed with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like it felt like a very bog standard almost match.
Yeah.
Not that that was a bad thing at all. It's just it wasn't. There was nothing really to write home about, and there's been a bit of a lack I found as of recent with their tag team divisions as of late, feeling a little left out almost.
Okay.
Like there's room for growth in dramatic ways, I would say.
I think I know why why that white piece isn't fitting on there nicely.
Did you put it in backwards or?
No.
Oh.
It's got a little nubbin right there. And I think now, if that goes, the other piece will fit on nicely. Because it was this piece that goes over it that wasn't
just wasn't
clicking.
Okay.
Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, okay. So the deal there was that I had a little itty bitty
nublin.
Yeah, from where it was cut, and it just wasn't. Now it's on there nicely. There we go. Okay. So sometimes taking things off and putting them back on improves them. Okay. So now what?
So now I'm trying to excavate this.
This is a large piece.
So yeah.
We're getting into articulated torsos.
Trying to make sure I got all the
A, B, C.
Yeah, it looks like they're. Looks like I got all the pieces here.
Okay.
Alrighty, so we need to get to this part here. So we got some C parts here, some C's and some A's.
Some C's and some A's and what okay, here's A.
Yep.
Okay, so which A's do we need?
So we need A14.
Okay. Oh, itty bitty 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 bitty.
Yes. And then I've got C is this red runner right here.
Okay.
And this is you need
C what?
22 and 21.
21 and 22. Okay. Oh. Okay.
Oop. Oh, it may have not been recording.
Oh, really?
Okay.
We didn't go very far.
No. Okay.
Okay.
We
So,
didn't go
so
very
this is
far.
like
No.
itty bitty.
So
Yes.
this is like
Okay.
itty
so where's
itty
it
itty
go?
bitty.
Yes. So
Okay, so where does it go?
they'll go on
So-
top of this A piece, and so there's a little.
They'll go on
extra
top of this A
diagram
piece,
there
and
to
so
try
there's a
to,
little extra diagram there to try to
better. I'm gonna steal
point
these
that out a bit better.
bits here.
I'm gonna steal these bits here.
Oh crap. Oh crap. Okay. Which piece
Okay.
what I can't tell is which way the A piece is supposed to go.
What I can't tell is which way the A piece is supposed to go.
So that goes, that's down.
Okay, so that goes, that's down. And this goes.
Oh, I see what. Oh, I see what's going on here.
Oh, I see what. Oh, I see what's going on here.
So it's supposed to make like a little crest in the middle there.
Yep,
So
I
it's supposed to
got
make
it.
like a little
I
crest
now
in the
get
middle
it, but-
there.
Yep, I got it. I now get it, but
Tweezers.
Jesus. Tweezers.
Okay, so it goes like that.
Okay, so it goes like that.
Are we recording now?
Yes, we should be recording now.
Are we recording now?
I thought we
Yes,
were.
we
before,
should be
but I guess
recording
We
now.
were not.
I thought we were beforehand, but I guess we were not.
So what else would I have liked to see? I would have liked to see Braun Strowman do some more stuff.
I would have liked
beyond
to
what he
see
did.
Braun Strowman do some more stuff.
What about
beyond
the?
what he did.
What did you think of the thing with Daniel?
What about the? What
I
did
think
you think
Daniel
of the thing
was-
with Daniel?
Yes.
I
I
mean,
think
well,
Daniel
that's
was-
cathartic at
Yes,
the end
yes,
of the
yes,
day.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, well, that's
He
cathartic
was
at the
acting
end
a
of the
little
day.
bit more
Yeah.
mean-spirited, but
He was
at the end of the
acting
day,
a little
like,
bit more mean-spirited.
There's a lot of
but at
times
the
where
end of the day,
they're
like
what they call tweeners.
Yeah,
there's a lot
so
of times
small.
where
I
they're
know,
what they
it
call
really is.
tweeners.
That is so small.
I know
It's
it
so
really
small.
is.
It almost looks like it would have been better as a sticker.
It's so small.
It
and
almost looks like it would have been better
So
as a
small,
sticker.
and I'm
Yeah.
having a hard time getting it.
so
to
small, and
stay.
I'm having a hard time getting it to stay.
It like it wants to click.
It wants to click.
Wow.
Wow.
Again, I would have liked to see Braun Strowman throw some people around.
Again, I would like to see
especially,
Braun
would
Strowman
love to
throw
see
some people around,
Shinsuke
especially
Nakamura wrestle
would
as
have loved
well,
to see
I know
Shinsuke
he's,
Nakamura wrestle as well. Although
much older than a
I
lot
know
of
he's
wrestlers I think he's in is
much older than a lot of wrestlers.
late
I think he's
30s,
in
early
is,
40s.
Late 30s,
Well, I mean,
early
for
40s.
wrestlers, yes.
So
Yeah, I know, I get it.
Well, I mean, for wrestlers, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I know, I get
this
it.
piece
Okay, so this piece.
is extremely small. You can tell it has
Extremely
little
small.
things for that to
You
slide
can tell
into.
it has little things for that to slide
But,
into.
So you take that very carefully.
But
Okay.
you take that very carefully. Okay.
Yeah, that's just the tiniest thing here. Ah,
Yeah.
ah,
Yeah,
it fell
that's
off.
the tiniest thing here. Ah,
Yeah.
yeah,
The
it fell
top
off.
red part you were having such a difficult
part?
time with.
The top red part
Yeah,
you were
it
having
doesn't-
such a
it
difficult
doesn't,
time with.
Yeah,
Doesn't
it
wanna stay
doesn't.
on there
It doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like
It
it
doesn't want
wants
to stay on there nicely.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it wants to click, but it just wasn't.
So now
quite
I'm looking for
getting it.
D1.
Yes.
So now I'm
although
looking
I've
for
already-
D1?
where you- well, I got your
Yes, although I've already, well, I got your
This little
D
piece is-
D1
this little
15
piece is
right
supposed to
there.
go
There.
into it.
But this little
Oh,
piece is,
okay.
but this little piece is supposed to go into it though.
Oh,
so the
okay.
thing, so.
Okay.
And you've already cut out our
Yeah.
C piece.
Yeah, that's.
And you've
this
already
piece
cut out our
right
C
here, I
piece?
believe, so.
Yeah,
They
that's
just need to
this piece
stop
right here, I
dropping
believe.
little red
So.
pieces throughout
They
That
the-
just
little
need
red
to
piece
stop
almost-
dropping
I
this
almost
little
wanted
red
super
piece
glue.
through all
That
the-
little red piece
I
almost.
don't
I almost
have any
wanted super glue.
Well, if we were at my
I
house,
don't have any
Oh, I know
super
you
glue.
Well, if we were at my house,
because I have
Oh, I know you do.
granddaughters who break
because I have granddaughters who break things.
I can see why you're having such a problem with that here.
Yeah, it just
I can
it
see why
wants
you're
to
having
click.
such a problem with that here.
Yeah, it wants to click.
Now I've lost the piece.
Now I've lost the piece.
On the floor. I heard it.
I heard it too.
On the floor. I heard it.
I heard it too.
I heard it drop.
Just a tiny little piece here too that you wouldn't
Such a tiny little piece here
necessarily
too
notice
that
where
you
it
wouldn't
is immediately.
necessarily notice where it is immediately if you. Or did it
I mean, at the end
go?
of the day, it's such a small,
It,
insignificant.
I mean, at the end
piece.
of the day,
It
it's
doesn't
such
really
a
make any
small
difference.
insignificant
I'm gonna
Piece.
go.
It doesn't
We're gonna
make
proceed
any
without?
difference.
No,
Okay.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go
We're
ahead
gonna
and say.
proceed without. Okay.
I will proceed without.
Okay.
Me too.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
slide this
just need
into
to
its housing. This is again, if I had known this has been
into its
quite
housing.
as
This is if I had known this had been quite as difficult as it was going to
Well,
be, I would've
it looks like it's going to be really
picked a
cool when it's all
different one.
together.
Well, it looks like it's going to be really cool when it's all together.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's interesting to see exactly what these
And
can
it's
be,
interesting
because,
to see exactly what these
and
can
one of the
be.
things I noticed
because,
is on the packets it
and
also
one of the things
says
I noticed
which
is
models
on the
it goes
packets
for.
it also says
So I
which,
assume
which
since this has
models
several
it goes
different
for.
model numbers on it,
So I
that
assume
there's
since this has several different model numbers on it, that there's several different models that this
The
could
sheets.
make.
Some of these can be,
Okay.
The sheets.
Some of these can be,
Okay,
yeah.
so I got it attached in there and onto
Okay.
the
Okay,
C
so
part.
I got
now
it
we need
attached
to-
in there and onto
Okay.
the C part. So now we need
So
to.
now we've got this is where we're at here.
So now we've got.
Here.
Now we move
This
to
is where we're
this
at
part
here.
We're going to
Okay.
attach.
Now we need to move to this part here. We're going to
skirts
attach
somehow. Oh, I see.
the skirts somehow.
So the skirt's got
Oh, I
these
see how.
cool like little knobs.
Okay.
So-
So the skirt's
Those
got
knobs
these
are actually
cool like
these
little
bits
knobs.
Yeah.
right there.
So those knobs are actually, so this little bits
Yeah.
right there. So those knobs,
Okay.
we go right inside them.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool.
Very much a forced sort of.
Very,
Thing,
very
yeah.
much a forced
see where
sort
that
of.
goes.
Thing, yeah.
So
You can
now
see
do
where
I
that
need to find
goes.
D1, E1?
So now do I need to find D1, E1?
Yeah.
So we got D36 here.
Panel right
Yeah.
here. And then
Thankfully, I've got that panel right here.
it looks like you'll need
And
the.
can you hand me the clippers?
Oh, yes.
It looks like you'll need
And
the.
can you hand me the
D
clippers?
36?
Oh, yes.
D36,
So I need
D37,
D36,
and then
D36, D37, and then
E1
I have the
panel here,
E1
which is-
number 18 panel here, which
Okay.
is.
Oh, D37's like itty bitty bitty bitty.
yes,
Oh, D37 is
unfortunately.
like itty bitty bitty bitty.
Yes, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, I before we started this, I would have been
Yeah,
so tempted to just wiggle
before we
these
started
off,
this, I
but
would have been
now
so
see
tempted
the
to just
disaster
wiggle
which
these
would
off,
incur.
but I now see
if you
the
did
disaster
that,
which would
because
incur.
these,
Mhm.
like the
If
little
you did
attachments
that,
are
because these
small.
like the little attachments are so
Okay.
small.
And
There we go.
then you have
Okay.
And then-
one right there.
And then you
Okay.
have this one right there,
Okay.
D18.
Now the bigger one that you built, where the pieces
Now
this,
the bigger
this
one that you
tiny?
built, where the
Not
where the
all of
pieces
them.
this tiny,
But you did have some tiny
Not
ones.
all
I did
of
have
them.
some tiny pieces.
but you did have some tiny ones.
I did have some tiny pieces, yes.
Let's see. So this one here.
Let's see, so this one here.
And it's not like you can cut these out ahead because you would
And
drive
it's not
yourself
like you can cut these out
absolutely
ahead because
crazy.
you would
Oh,
drive yourself
did.
absolutely crazy.
Oh, absolutely.
Bottom
If
one.
you
and
did.
then-
So, bottom one and then.
And now I'm looking for A5.
And now I'm looking for A5.
yes, which is going to be this yellow one.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
going to
that
be
was a multicolor
this
one, okay.
yellow one here.
Yeah, I thought it was a multicolor one. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Okay. So let me see.
So let me see.
But what it does at the end of the day is it opens up like this.
Oh,
What it does at the end of the day,
I
is it opens
can't
up like
get
this.
over how
Oh,
well
wow.
articulated these
I
are.
can't,
Which I
I can't
think
get
the
over how
intention
well
here is to
articulated
hold on
these
to
are.
like a gun
Which
or
I
something
think the
in the back.
intention here is to hold on
So
to
was there
like a
anybody
gun or
you
something
only
in the
saw for the
back.
first time on
So was
Friday
there
night?
anybody you only saw for the
Um,
first time on
Let's see.
Friday
I
night?
hadn't seen Bobby Roode before yet.
Let's see.
Okay.
I hadn't seen Bobby
He
Roode
was one of the
before
guys that fought
Okay.
against the Usos.
He was
Uh-huh.
one of the guys that fought against the Usos.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Oh, we need to get A6 as well.
Oh, okay.
Did you,
oh, we need to
Yeah,
get A6
A6
as well.
is
Oh.
right.
Did you-
was
did
right.
you-
Yeah,
other-
A6 is was right next to it.
yeah, no, I hadn't seen Bobby Roode before. All the way I have.
Yeah, no, I hadn't
followed
seen
him
Bobby Roode before. All the way I have
Okay.
followed
since
him
his,
wrestling
since he
here.
joined the
Since his
main roster.
since he joined the main roster.
let's see.
Now explain what you mean when you
Um,
say main roster.
Let's see.
Now
So,
explain what you mean when you say
NXT.
main
So
roster.
the WWE.
So
back in the
NXT.
day,
So
if you
the
wanted to get new
WWE
wrestlers, you had to
back in the day,
find
if you
them.
wanted to get new
There
wrestlers, you
was
had to.
there was
find
training
them.
schools, but not a
There
lot.
wasn't
of,
there was training schools,
but not a lot
of
training schools that were.
but not a lot
either
of training schools that
well-known
were
beyond one or
either
two versus,
well known beyond one or
some others
two
that were,
versus some others that were
skirts. Not a lot of well-known wrestling schools, and so a lot of cases here,
not a lot of well-known
you got
wrestling
what you
schools,
got.
and so a
You
lot of
didn't-
cases
you
here,
didn't get, you didn't get,
you
know,
got
the
what
cream
you
of the
got.
crop
You
or the
didn't,
best
you
stuff.
didn't get, you know, the
Oh,
cream of
this
the
guy
crop
is,
or the best
let me
stuff.
see
You
the
got,
notes real quick.
you know, oh, this guy is. Let me see the nubs real quick. The clippers real quickly. A little bit of a nub here.
There we go.
Okay.
And then if you could start finding
And then if you could start finding
that piece right there, which is
Me.
that piece right there, which is
Me.
before back in the day, if you wanted to be a wrestler, you know,
before back in the day, if
tried
you
to
wanted to be a
find a
wrestler, you know,
they would get you
tried to find a
training
school and
in
hoped
just what they used to
they
call
would get
the
you
indies.
training in what they used to call
well, the indies
the
don't
indies.
exactly exist anymore. because
Well, the indies don't
WWE
exactly
kind of ran
exist
everybody
anymore
out.
because WWE's kind of ran everybody out.
So one of the big deals was that
One of the big
was
deals
having
was
problems
that
finding
the WWE was
talent.
having problems finding new
and
talent.
part of the problem there is that you can't find new talent if
And
you
part of the problem there is that you
drove
can't find new
all the
talent
business
if
out
you
at the end of the day.
drove
So it's like,
all
well,
the business out at the end of the day. So it's like,
what do we do now?
What do we do
This
now?
part is we might need to
So
disconnect
this
one
part
of these.
is we might need to disconnect one of these here.
I'm glad it shows you the little red marks where you're supposed to cut. 'cause I have
I'm
some
glad it
questions
shows
on
you the
that.
little red marks where you're
So
supposed
actually,
to
I
cut.
still
'Cause I
need
have
you
some
to
questions on
cut
that
these
one.
little
So yeah.
bits off
So
here.
actually, I still need you to cut these little bits off
Off.
here.
So the circular bits don't belong.
The little
Oh, the
bits
circular
off.
bits
So
don't
the circular
belong. I
bits
was
don't
getting
belong.
confused there.
Oh, the circular
So,
bits
see
don't
how-
belong. I was getting
okay, got it.
confused there.
So see how
Oh,
the
okay,
red
I
line
got
right
it,
there is
okay.
what it says.
Alright.
Otherwise,
I'm
unfortunately.
really confused. Okay,
All
so the
right.
circular bits don't belong.
I was getting really
They
confused.
appear
Okay,
to
so the circular bits don't belong.
They appear to not.
Okay.
Being really careful on how I tweeze these out. There we go.
Being really careful on how I tweeze these out. There we go.
So we
Okay.
need.
So
Okay.
We need this part right here, which is
so
C19.
we need this part right
Okay.
here, which is C19.
Okay.
Do we need C20? It looks like a companion piece to
Do we
it.
need C20?
No.
It looks like a companion piece to it.
Not
No?
yet, but we will need
Not yet.
C13
But we will need,
and 14. shortly thereafter.
C13 and 14 shortly thereafter.
Okay. So there's that one.
I see now.
Oh,
I see now.
C13 and 14 are itty bitty bitty.
Oh,
Itty bitty, you said?
C13 and 14 are
They are
itty bitty
small,
bitty.
yes.
Itty bitty, you
Oh my
said?
goodness.
They are small, yes. Right there and
Oh
there.
my goodness.
You'll like how this works at the end of the day. This is actually
I'm sure he
kinda
will.
fun.
I
I
mean,
like how
it's,
this
it's
works
been
at the end
so
of the
cool
day.
so
This is
far.
I'm sure he will. I mean, it's been so cool so far.
Was this 13 or 14?
Was this 13
Yes.
or 14?
Okay.
They're identical.
Yes.
Okay.
They're identical.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
What these do here,
Mm-hmm.
What
they
these
don't
do
fit.
here,
So this black piece here doesn't fit a
they don't fit.
perfect
So this
fit
black
here.
piece here doesn't fit a perfect
So maybe they are
fit
different.
here at the end of the day.
They're ever so slightly.
So maybe they are different.
They're ever so slightly.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm finding it useful at this point to be looking
Okay, so I'm finding it useful at this point to be looking
at that. Do you ever find that useful to?
at that. Do you
Let me
ever
get
find
the
that
clippers real quick.
useful
Do
to
Mm-hmm. Let me get the
Little
clippers real quick. I'm gonna do a little,
a little nippy?
a little,
Okay.
just a little over.
You got that?
Yes, so just a sea of trays.
You got it there?
Yes, so just
Well,
a sea
yeah.
of
I
trays.
mean, how many? How many?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Oh, you don't
how
want-
many?
don't ask
And
that.
and we've already. I mean, if you
Oh,
look
you
at
don't
look
wanna-
at
don't
like
ask
this
And
one,
and
most
we've
of the
already.
pieces
I mean,
are
if
off.
you look at like this one, most
There's
of the
still some
pieces are
pieces
off.
on.
Mm-hmm.
There's still some pieces on.
This is a gun.
Yes.
This is a gun.
Yes.
Oh, there's like a bazooka.
I will
Oh, there's
pull
like
out my box because I have a
bazooka.
lot
I will
of pieces
pull
on
out
there.
my box because I have a lot
have
of
probably
pieces on there.
3 times as
I
many
have
wires.
probably
Oh,
3 times as
save
many
them?
runners.
Yes.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
some
Do
of
you
them
save them?
because there's
Yes.
pieces on there that
Some
still.
of them
Could be
because
used
there's
to make
pieces
it
on there
something
that
else.
still.
Not
Could be
necessarily
used
make it something
to make
else,
it
but
something
other
else?
pieces which haven't
Not necessarily
been,
make it something else, but
I
other
haven't pulled
pieces
off here
which
just yet,
haven't
so like
been.
the ammo.
I haven't
Okay,
pulled off
got
there
it.
just yet. So
Okay.
like the
doesn't-
ammo
I haven't.
thing.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't.
All right.
Yeah.
So now we've
Cool.
got the
All
skirt
right.
element here, which is
So
gonna
now we've got the skirt element
go like
here, which
this
is going
on
to
him.
go like
We need to
this
build
on him.
these parts right here. So
We need to build
U-
these parts right here. So we need the.
23 on both.
E 23 on both. Okay.
I have the other E. I have the other E. Oh, okay.
It was
I think I
hiding
have the
clippers
other E.
underneath.
I have the other E.
It was hiding the clippers underneath.
So yeah, so speaking back to the WWE.
So yeah, so speaking back to the WWE
WWE's
here,
initial didn't have any sort of way.
the WWE's
of
initial
getting new
didn't
talent
have
at
any sort
all.
of way of getting
which
new
is a bit of a
talent at
problem
all.
if you run in a business where it's
Which is a bit of a
primarily
problem if you run in a
talent
business
driven.
where it's primarily
and
talent
so one of the
and
much
so
older
one of the
wrestlers,
much
by the name of
older
Triple H was actually,
wrestlers by the name of Triple H was
who's actually married into the family now.
who's actually married into the family now actually.
Said basically made a point of saying it's like,
basically
everyone's got all these great ideas
made a point of
about
saying it's like
where,
everyone's got all these great
what
ideas
to do the
about
next 2 years.
where
Nobody has said anything about
what to
where
do
you
the
get
next 2
the
years.
talent to
Nobody has
do
said
that.
anything about
Yeah.
where do we get the talent to do this.
That, yeah.
Put the piece at. I see.
Where did you put the piece at? I see.
The skirt's very fancy.
The skirt's very flimsy.
He's going to be showing a lot of leg here.
He's going to be showing a lot
Occasionally.
of leg here, ever so occasionally.
And so basically, what he ended up creating was a training.
And so
program
basically, what he
known as
ended
the
up creating was
WWE
a
Performance Center,
training program known as the
where
WWE
they
Performance
basically
Center,
hire people who were
where they
boxers,
basically hire people who were
gymnasts, former NFL
boxers,
athletes, people like that.
gymnasts, former
and
NFL
train them
athletes,
to be
people like
wrestlers.
that, and
Well,
train them
my
to be
understanding was
wrestlers.
Bailey used to be a gymnast.
Well, and my understanding was Bailey used to be a gymnast.
Charlotte was definitely a gymnast at one point.
So we need D.
Charlotte was
Yes.
definitely a gymnast at one
Okay.
point.
So we need D?
Yes,
28.
so here we go.
G.
28,
Which is
Okay.
which is
kind of
You would think it'd become easier to find them when there are fewer of them left, but
sometimes, yeah. I mean, I think with my bigger one, they got a lot easier to find the pieces, but not any less of them there, unfortunately. No, again, I mean, so like Sasha went through the program through the Performance Center program. So did Charlotte, Bailey, Becky. They are actually collectively known as the Four Horsewomen.
oh,
Because there used to be the Four Horsemen, which used to be Ric Flair and his posse at one point.
okay.
And so they were able to rechristen themselves as the Four Horsewomen because they were trailblazers, I guess was the best way to put it. Because they kind of are, actually.
So now, is this piece articulated, or is that just
No,
sort of
no,
looked
it-
that way? Okay.
yeah,
So
it's-
don't stamp it. Okay.
No, it is not articulated,
Okay.
unfortunately. So, just kind of going.
You could turn it around so you're not having to do this upside down.
No, I can read
Because
upside down.
you've done it before, and you kind of. So is there any sort of pattern to these between different kits?
Some yes and some no. It all depends on the year and when they were made.
Okay.
Some years will have far more similarities with stuff with models versus others less so, maybe.
Okay.
All right, so that part goes there, and now we've got
legs with the skirt.
yep, we got a lower body now.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
So now the promotional page shows you all the cool stuff you can do with it. This, I think, though, is the master grade, though, because it has
Okay, so this is the next model up. Okay.
yeah, because it's got the core fighter in there in the middle.
Okay.
All right, so
All right.
now we're building a chest piece.
Okay.
So
So
we got this piece right here, which is this. So for the begin with the upper body, we're gonna need the F piece.
F5.
F5.
Okay.
Performance Center is basically WWE's training ground at the end of the day. It's where they, and then we need C10 and C9. The training ground basically is where the WWE makes new wrestlers at. And it's been wildly successful thus far. They've created a number of almost everybody who's in the main roster right now. Who Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt, Becky, Sasha, Carmella, Alexa Bliss. Like, there's a lot of wrestlers who started in the NXT program and then moved on to the main roster. But as of late, because NXT has been kind of promoted here, it's no longer kind of a training sort of level. It's now just considered a full-on brand at this point here. So now it's on the same, theoretically on the same level, but it's always a point of graduating from NXT to the intent is always to graduate from NXT to the main roster. Now the trick is to figure out. I want these parts to go. Cool. And then so I need H2 and C28.
So let me get you C28. I saw C28.
So a lot of wrestlers' dreams is to get to join the main roster to fight for the main championships, as they were. Not to say that the NXT one isn't as good, but just so much as that it feels a lot more like
There's
an indie show.
And what's the other one?
H2. That's B.
And that's F.
Oh, that's okay.
There's H. And H2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if there's is there a reason behind not dealing with it as a training league? Because minor leagues in all sports are helpful for development.
Oh no, it's very much treated like a training league. A lot of wrestlers who start in.
I guess I expected the dark matches to be sort of training league.
They have been in the past. They're not as much anymore. Jeez, how are they?
You can turn it around so you can look at it right side up.
That would be cheating almost, though, wouldn't it?
Uh-huh.
It's in the right place. Okay, got it. Okay.
So now we're looking for C3 and 4?
C3 and C4, yes. Yeah, in past, the dark matches have been often kind of a proving ground sort of thing, where like you put on these matches to kind of see, is this guy maybe worth it here now? But I guess it's become a little bit less common now because the WWE has a performance center. You don't have to try a person out like that anymore. You have this other venue at the end of the day in which you have plenty of opportunities for. Oh, thank you. So you have other opportunities now to test and see if a guy is going to be, is it worth it to train them, or is it going to be worth it to have them. Okay. Worried about that little nub part there. If that was, no, it's necessary.
It's so hard when you're cutting to make sure that.
And especially the first time you go to build one too, because it's like. Because again, like I built one of the arms on the unicorn, and like I didn't realize, oh, these parts don't belong here. No. And then I looked at the instruction over and I was like, oh.
Well, I broke
I was
one
wrong.
the other day by putting something in the wrong place, but it clicked in.
Alrighty.
Okay, so now what do we need?
So now we are on what looks to be this part right here. Or
So we
no,
need...
we are over here now.
You're over here.
So we're gonna build these vents. It looks like.
Okay, so those are C20. Am I looking for C29? C20?
C29.
And then what about this down here?
These we'll get to that part here because
Okay.
we got to go in kind of semi-order.
Okay. So no jumping ahead.
Nope, not yet. If you knew if we had built this like a dozen times, you could very much jump ahead, but we are still building it for the first time.
Okay. So here's C29.
You get to put them on this time.
I get to put them on. Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay. So C29.
Well, not just yet though. Remember, we still need to get these A16 parts here first.
Okay.
And I believe these are yellow, so it's probably this yellow one here.
I want 15 and 16.
Yes, it looks like both 15 and 16.
So did anything we see surprise you?
Was exciting to see Goldberg. I wasn't aware that he would be there beforehand because I generally don't follow ahead of time.
Okay, so these go.
So I would put those. It looks like those yellow parts are going to go in right about here-ish or so, and then I would put the blue part on top of it.
Okay.
Goldberg was a surprise because I wasn't expecting him at the end of the day, but it makes sense when he's going to fight against Bray Wyatt for the Universal title, which he's not going to win.
How do you know he's not going to win?
They don't do a lot of title changes on the Saudi Arabia trips at the end of the day.
Okay.
Saudi Arabia trips are actually kind of a bit of a sore spot with some of the fans because obviously
but if they're there to make money, then you make money where you can.
No, absolutely. And again, that's part of the credence here at the end of the day is you make money where you can at the end of the day. A lot of WWE fans would just prefer that they not make money there if they could avoid it.
And is there a particular reason why?
If mostly just because the Saudi Arabia crowd is not a bad crowd by any means, but just so much as a lot of there's an awful lot of pandering done by the WWE when they get there. It's like, oh my goodness, the beautiful city of Jeddah, and everybody's been so kind and generous. And a lot of people.
Am I in there right?
Yes, you are.
Am I?
Oh no, they're upside down.
The vents?
Yeah.
Okay, I wondered about that. Okay.
Yeah, the vents are upside down. They should be facing downward. No, there's a lot of discontent with the notion that Saudi Arabia doesn't have good human rights at all. The crowd is primarily made up of men because women aren't allowed there due to Sharia law. There's a lot of WWE fans who would much rather than be much more not necessarily progressive, but would like to see the WWE not trying to pander to a place just to get money at the end of the day. And a lot of the shows that go over there as well, you get a lot of people who unnecessarily return.
Okay.
Oh, cool. So now we're going to need F4 and A21. It's kind of look boxy almost with a hole in it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes. Thank you for that description.
Mm-hmm. No, there's a lot of people who just would. A lot of the shows that happen over there as well are not necessarily the best shows that make logical sense. As
A21?
Yeah, which will be the bottom left-hand corner where your right thumb is
Okay.
at. A lot of fans are not. There's a lot of matches that happen for no particular reason at all. Like, oh my goodness, it's Triple H versus John Cena, which is a dream match at the end of the day, but Triple H isn't wrestling full time at that point, and he's more or less not a background person, but he's very much in the background of the WWE events primarily.
So it's a box office event.
Yes, pretty much.
Okay.
And then we need this C20, which is the red parts.
So you get matches that wouldn't be done here because you probably couldn't pay the performer enough to come out because he's retired.
There's some of that too.
Okay.
We've had times where and then we also need 11 and 12 from that same seed runner.
Okay.
No, there's been matches that have been either not ideal, or as an example here, most recently we had a match with again, oddly enough, with Goldberg and The Undertaker, in which one of them got a concussion toward the very beginning of the match.
So how do they? Okay, so how do they bring all their stuff? Because there's a lot of stage with that show.
That gets sent out ahead of time. It's not the first time they'll go overseas to Europe and Saudi, to other places, semi-frequently actually. So they always have a European tour that they do, and there's always a Japan tour and a China tour in a lot of cases, or India.
And they go with the full stage. India.
Yes. So
How does that work?
again, they've been to India before. They've actually
Well, so have I, but
they picked up wrestlers in India here too now.
I just
actually.
had a piece of luggage.
But no, again, like they'll send an entire crew down there a week ahead of time.
So that was the freakiest thing we saw.
Okay.
The Indian brothers.
Oh, the Singh brothers, yeah.
With their Bollywood music, which I was dancing to because I've been to. If you ever go to India,
Mm-hmm.
and your sister and I did this in Jaipur, definitely go to a Bollywood movie, and because the crowd, along with dancing to the music, and they knew all the moves,
Mm-hmm.
because videos are big there, they will talk to the stage. They'll talk to the movie while it's playing. They'll talk to the people in the movie while it's playing.
Really?
Yes, like, no, don't go with him. Don't. And some of it was in English because a lot of you didn't speak English, but a lot of it was in Hindi as well. But it was some of the most fun I've ever had.
Really?
It was really a lot of fun. And then they were dancing in the aisles at the end, because every Indian movie, if you ever saw a Slumdog Millionaire with the big production
Mm-hmm.
piece at the end, okay, that happens in every Indian movie.
Seen a couple Bollywood movies there. They very much enjoy their dancing.
Yes, they do. It's
Can't-
a lot of fun.
Cannot fault them for that.
It's one of those things, like, I always try to do what they
Mm-hmm.
do there.
An F-14 piece.
Okay. I'm going to Colombia soon, and the thing there is they play this game called Tejo, which is throwing these little metal enclosed markers that if they hit another piece of metal, blow up. And it's sort of like explosive horseshoes. F what?
F-14.
Okay. And I definitely intend to do that. Because they do it while drinking beer. And
Well,
just explosives and beer sound like such a good idea.
Well, please tell me the girls are going to participate as well.
Oh, yes. Yes. We have a bunch of 50 and 60-year-old women with explosives. It'll be good.
There we go.
It's like a dirt thing that you throw it on,
Oh, okay.
but it's very much like horseshoes.
Horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Um,
More like the hand grenades, but
So we're going to need E1's number 7.
do we need E2's number 7?
No, just
E1's.
E1 it says, but we're going to
Okay.
need some very tiny G pieces, it would seem.
Okay.
Let's saying G9s.
Okay. So here's E7.
I know. Now, when I say tiny, I literally mean very tiny, right where my fingers
Oh,
are.
gosh. That's a piece?
Yes.
Okay, cool. It was very much like in Japan. We went sake tasting and we went and saw sumo.
Oh, absolutely. Again, I mean, I'm not knocking it. Just again, sometimes sometimes it's confusing to remember that. Oh yeah, the rest of the world does this sometimes.
Well, if we ever go back, we're going to spend a day in costume. I wanted to do that.
Oh, I do feel bad about not doing that now.
Yeah.
It's one of those things in which I do regret for not having done.
We're doing
before.
it next time.
Absolutely. And then it looks like we need these F pieces here, so F8 and F9.
Okay.
Wow, ever such tiny little.
Yes.
Oh, I see how.
So when they go to other countries, do they manage to bring, like, would you bring a sumo wrestler in?
They've actually had sumo wrestlers in the actual show before.
That I understand, but I mean, would you ever, as a way of...
Kind of cultural appropriation, or because
Yeah.
you're there.
Yeah.
I
mean, when they're in Saudi Arabia, I haven't been to Saudi Arabia, I've been to Dubai, but when they're in Saudi Arabia, do they, I don't know, involve shakes?
If you, in some cases, depending on where you are, which is always
You'd have to be careful because you also don't want to
offend.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think I gotta figure out how to put this on all, or maybe okay. I think I see how. Oh, it really is in the back there, isn't it?
Yeah, the drawings are good, but they're not perfect. Sometimes I'm not getting necessarily interpreting them well.
Well, because what's going on here is that there's a circular edge,
Right.
hole to put this hole into.
But matching it up is a bit.
Yeah, like you really just kind of want to.
I would think this is something in which ladylike fingers, which I don't have, would be useful. Do you want me to try?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to put what in what hole?
So with the little, so you see how there's a little nub part at the bottom?
Yeah.
So it wants to go upright like this, and then the T-bar on the white part wants to go into a socket that's inside here.
Oh God.
I know, right? I think it says that it's a very tight fit here. If you're
reading your Japanese correctly.
Upside down, of course. Kanji upside down is always fun.
Okay, well, turn it right side up because I'm not being any more successful than you.
Yeah, I think it's trying to say that there is a very tight fit here.
Okay, you're on your own here.
Okay.
I'm trying, but I'm
That's
not
fine.
getting it.
So it's kind of hard to immediately tell if it means that these two pieces here need to be connected first.
And then that slides in.
Sorta.
Okay.
It's just the right size for it.
That sounds like it snapped.
Okay, well there we go.
There we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, where to next?
All right. We need. So we're working on the backpack right now. So we're gonna
Okay.
need B3.
Okay, B is.
It's the C right here.
Yeah. Who's this? B3.
Yes. B3 and then eventually F12.
Okay, there are two B3s. You need both B3s?
Yes, it would seem so.
So afraid of snapping something I'm not supposed to snap.
It's okay.
Well, no, if I break it, it's not okay.
Well, we'll just bring super glue next time.
Okay, on the women's side, we saw Alexa
We
Bliss.
saw Alexa Bliss. We saw Naomi.
We saw Naomi. We saw the glow.
Naomi.
Yeah. That was fun. She really does glow.
She does.
Except she wasn't very. She didn't.
She didn't what? She had a cool entrance.
She had a very cool entrance.
But
and what determines whether or not you get a big entrance or not?
if you are a
Because some of them get big entrances and some of them get just sort of like you're
meandering sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of cruel to say, but everyone gets a different entrance based off of like how big of a personality you are in some cases.
Well, the glow is a very big personality, and she really does glow.
And yeah, and it also kind of depends on some of the wrestlers here. Like Naomi's got a very much a dancing sort of gimmick at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Did you find the part or?
Which one?
It looks like we're looking for F12 now.
Okay. I'm getting a little concerned that I'm finding my my cards quickly here.
So yeah, Naomi's got kind of a dancer's gimmick from when she was a Funkadactyl, which was a
Funkadactyl.
Basically, she was
cool.
she was kind of like a glorified dancer essentially, and that's all she was for a while.
In the WWE.
In the WWE, yes. And then thankfully she was able to get out of that role.
Yeah. So what are we looking for now?
I'm looking for G1s. So you have a G runner, I think is. Here we go.
Got it there.
Yep. So she's and again, I would love to see her as a champion because again, she had a very when she had the women's title, it was very light up. Had a lot of literally had LEDs on the belt. So it lit up when she was in the dark and all around, just like her shoes. By the way, her shoes are still awesome. Oh,
her shoes are so awesome. You got that there?
Yes, but caught by my shirt.
Okay.
Shows good.
So what do you need next, and I'll find it.
It looks like I'm gonna need G3s.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's one of those things that's really interesting to me is how, like Bailey's outfit is pretty plain.
Oh, again, keep in mind when she used to come out, she used to have what they call Bailey buddies, which were these inflatable tube men that would have risen with her.
I saw her with them.
Mm-hmm.
She had the Bailey buddies, but even when she had the Bailey buddies, it was sort of a athletic. It looked like something I'd buy at Athleta.
Yes.
It was just sort of a women's sports bra and a pair of leggings.
Mm-hmm. And then G26.
Okay.
No, absolutely, yeah, and it was nothing. It's a little basic, but.
And it's still a little basic, and you said they buy their own, but I would imagine that if you're investing, you would be investing in it to promote your brand, your whatever.
Well, again, Bailey at one point here was very much a babyface for a long period of time.
Well, the first time we saw her, she was.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we saw her back in May last year.
Yeah. Wasn't that long ago.
Well, it doesn't feel that long ago for us.
Yeah.
But no, she was a babyface at the time, so it made sense to have gear that was not quite so. And she was also kind of a big, not a big kid is not the right way to phrase it, but
a young up and comer, and
well, a lot of her fans were this 7 to 14-year-old demographic.
Yeah.
A very girly,
Well, she had like a one-sided ponytail and.
Yep, and her move is a hug basically.
Yeah.
Trying to maneuver the stuff in here so it doesn't fall out later. But now that she's kind of become a bad guy and quote unquote grown up, her gear is still kind of very basic and simple. And for
will they turn her back?
Oh yes, eventually.
Okay.
Hopefully not for at least another. You don't want to change people around too often.
Okay.
Because then they don't quite make sense for the most part. So see
that's pretty cool.
And then last bit we need here is the D1, and it's going to be this one right here. And these are easy because these are just tubes right here.
Okay.
These are the beam sabers,
Beam
quote
sabers?
unquote lightsabers.
Okay.
No, again, Bailey will be a good guy eventually. Again, probably this time next year. Again, I mean, like a lot of them kind of cipher in between there. AJ Styles, which is another popular wrestler, he was started off kind of as a bad guy and eventually moved to a good guy, and then now that he's back on Raw, he's a bad guy again. Their motives kind of change frequently, which is not my preference at the end of the day. I would much rather, if you're a bad guy, I would much rather see you, prefer to see you as a bad guy more frequently. If only just because, it becomes confusing later on. It's kind of hard to be like, oh, you were a bad guy this week, but now you're a good guy? Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you have to take time to turn them. Makes sense.
All right, and so then this will go in.
Oh, that's so cool.
Gotta
Get that lined up.
make sure it's just not backwards. It just might be backwards.
Or maybe we're backwards.
I was always at least forwards.
Okay.
Thinking at least. But no, yeah, no. That's kind of why I like Charlotte, because Bailey had a very good guy persona at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But Charlotte had the persona where it was like, this week I'm a good guy, but all it takes is somebody to cross me and I'm a bad guy again.
I like her.
I enjoy Charlotte a lot.
Yeah.
But I also enjoy Ric Flair, and I'm
All in the family.
there we go. We got a chess piece here that
Okay.
won't stay up quite yet, but
Well, I think
it's okay.
Yeah.
it's okay. But again, you can basically see where he is at the end of
Yep.
the day.
Okay, so where to now?
All right, so now we're going to build the arm. So now we're going to need to find that B piece here, which I think is... Oh, here it is.
Okay.
So we're going to want...
Both those long pieces?
Well, not yet. So we're going to go
Not
with B8 first.
I have 6 and 7. Yes, the long pieces. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and these pieces.
Are going to be kind of like the legs, in which they have articulation built into them already. Which is kind of impressive how they get that stuff in there already ahead of time.
Okay, so this is another one of those things where I'm taking off this little nubbin here.
Okay.
All right. Okay. And there's little nubbins, so I'm taking off little.
So, yeah, so for reference.
Ooh. Okay. Oops. Okay, let me get that.
So there is a part here which is supposed to kind of slide out.
Uh-huh. Okay. So yeah, no, I got it.
Okay.
Just a sec. I got this figured out. Okay, so then once they slide, you can move them, and then you can get off the rest of that little piece. Okay.
So,
Okay.
and this one here says we need to this piece. This looks like, I'm assuming this elbow piece here is supposed to slip. There we go. Just slides right on out.
Okay. So they actually give you these.
Well, don't pull out both of them just yet.
Okay.
And then. This wants me to pull out. Okay, cool. All right, so.
Next what?
So we need to move some of these things around a little bit. Oh, there's his fist. Oh, that's cool. Oh, 90. Okay, so we're gonna need G10. It looks like. It's this one. Yep, there you go. Again, I always find women's wrestling gear sometimes very interesting.
No, both G10s? Just one?
Just the one for right now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, because men, you have tights.
You have tights,
or you have the boxers or the briefs.
You kind of got boxers or briefs, or you've got what you call it? You got legs, or you got pants, or you've got kind of a singlet sort of thing going on.
Yeah.
Not a lot of diveration there at all. So here's the trick here. Where does this part go? It's going to, I think it goes in the front of the arm here, maybe. Yeah, that would make sense. Cool. And then I need G11 and 12.
And again, just one, right?
One of each, yes.
Okay. And mind you, these are...
Ever so tiny.
It went flying.
It's okay. These are decorative.
Let me find it.
Oh, wow.
Sorry. Can't tell. I don't. I think it went into the box.
Is it right here?
No, that's not it. That's another piece. Here it is. It went into the box.
Oh, okay.
Ooh. Okay.
My goodness. Very tiny.
Yeah, so the women have a lot more costume options, certainly because they can spangle and sparkle a little bit more, although the guys aren't shy about that.
No, I mean, again, the Indian guys here were very, very spangly.
No, okay, so they had all that fringe on their boots, and what keeps people from just grabbing that fringe and using it to hold them down?
Not a whole lot.
Because they had, like a foot of hot pink fringe from the bottom of their kneecap to their heel.
There's another popular wrestler by the name of Tyler Breeze who did that as well.
Really?
Yeah, and there's in AEW, which is rival to WWE, there are the Young Bucks, which is Matt and I can't remember his brother's name, but the Jackson brothers here. Not of the singing variety.
Okay.
But they also
So
wear...
there's not 5 of them?
No.
Okay.
There's 2 of them. They also do that where they have kind of like tassels that hang from their legs when they wrestle. And then I don't know if it's to hide the feet or if it's or what it's to do necessarily. But it's
when you danced, you had little tassels that dangled down the back.
Yeah, but down the back, not.
Yeah, that's true.
But we also had like big poofy balls on our feet as well.
Yes, those are cool shoes.
Those were very cool shoes. I'd wear them now, but and then I need D14, which is this piece right there.
Okay. That piece.
And then I'm going to need E5, it looks like.
Okay.
Now the trick is, where do you go in all this? Oh, I see where you go now. Yep, you are an elbow.
It's got to help to kind of understand how these pieces kind of, because you have, your major was industrial engineering.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to help.
I'd like to hope it does. So I need D16. for the D1.
Right.
I'd like to hope it helps in this in some way, shape, or form. I don't necessarily. I mean, there's certainly people who do this who don't have who don't have an engineering background at all, but it probably does help to some extent.
Sheamus, to me the articulation is just kind of magical. To you, it's probably a little more interesting.
No, it's fairly magical to me as well. I'm just fascinated by this here at this point. So now I'm going to need E13. I'm going to put this around here ever so quickly just to figure out where I am.
So there's a part that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The front, yes, and then this part goes in the back, yes. Okay. Alright, so we need the D1 number 13.
There it goes. Sorry.
It's okay. And then F13 as well.
Okay, so got it there.
Thank you.
F13.
Mm-hmm.
There are two of them. You just need one.
Just the one, yes.
How often do they come?
The WWE?
Yeah.
At least twice a year, I would say.
Because we saw them last May.
And then we'll see, and then they have another pay-per-view coming up here this summer.
Okay.
Again, which will be Extreme Rules, which I don't recommend for you at all.
They talked about that. So those are cage matches?
Not necessarily cage matches, but what they are what they consider their. So the WWE used to have a type of match called an Extreme Rules match.
Okay.
Which was basically a way of saying anything goes.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
And so you could have beat a person up with a chair. You could have beaten them up with a table, a trash can lid, the bell. All of it was legal at the end of the day, which was,
So let's talk about this. We saw tables come out from underneath, and the guys. I mean, obviously that's so set up because the guys know to go underneath there for the tables.
Or so much that they're even there to begin with. Why is there a table?
Yeah, why is there a table underneath there? Because it's a setup. So we saw tables come out. And you're saying that was illegal? When there's no ramifications for it?
Well, you lose the match if you don't care about whether you win or lose the match at the end of the day. Then
match is already fixed anyway.
Well, I mean, to the average onlooker, maybe, but I mean, but there's a lot of places where this is still treated as a legitimate sport, even though it's. I mean, they like to.
They're really athletes. I'll give them that. They really are athletes.
But there's a lot of WWE that likes to still consider themselves to be legitimate, a legitimate sport at the end of the day.
Okay.
And then D51's number 15. So.
The D115?
Yes.
Okay. It's an itty bitty thing.
Another very itty little bitty thing.
Okay. So why are some matches are so pathetically short, and other ones are will go on for quite a while? Why is that?
Well, there's two different purposes to the match slate. Sometimes you want a
I'd much rather watch a long match. I mean, the short matches seem kind of
perfunctory.
Yeah.
And that's semi-intentional.
Why?
So the short matches are intended to do one of two different things: either to just get a match done and over with, like with the Daniel Bryan match. Almost
Okay,
that was really
yeah.
short.
That was really short.
But it's also kind of meant to show that look how strong this guy is at the end of the day.
See, and I read it as, okay, this is Friday and they're on again on Monday.
But not these same guys though.
Oh, not these same guys.
No. Raw and SmackDown are two different brands, so that you won't see the same wrestlers on Raw on SmackDown at all.
And then you've got NXT.
In NXT, which is on Wednesdays. But NXT doesn't travel. Only
Okay.
SmackDown and Raw travel.
Okay.
And they usually do at least 3 to 4 other house shows throughout the week. So in their case here, they might finish wrestling and then they'll drive to Oakland or Modesto and they'll have a match and they'll do matches in Modesto. And then they might drive up to Sacramento and then they'll do matches in Sacramento. And then perhaps they'll fly back home for 2 days and then, oh no, it's Wednesday, time to get back on the road.
Yeah.
So, in a lot of cases, especially depending on what kind of athlete you are, or maybe not athlete, but depending on what kind of, what point you are in the gig. So I need D1 number 17.
Okay. What kind of athlete you are in the gig?
You might be asked to do more stuff. So you might be asked to do radio interviews. Is there another D17 there as well?
Yes.
Yes, let me get both, yes.
Okay.
You might be asked to do radio shows to promote the upcoming matches.
Okay.
You might get lucky and have commercials that you get to do.
Okay. And you get paid for all of that.
You do get paid, yes.
Okay.
And then E number 9.
Okay. E is E1.
E1 number 19.
Oh.
Kind of like a cup almost.
Well, almost like a wrench.
Oh, okay. E number 9?
Oh, I thought you said 19.
No, 9. I apologize. I may have misspoken there.
Okay, so E number 9, but not number 8?
No.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about this just a second.
Okay.
Okay, so you've mentioned before that they have to pay their own travel expenses. They pay their own
Hotels.
and
their own
they
food.
pay and their own costumes.
Mm-hmm. And their own airline flights and their own rent-a-cars.
Okay, so then the income model is really make it wherever you can.
Well, save as much as you can to get to wherever you're going.
Okay.
And so it's not uncommon for wrestlers to, especially wrestlers who haven't made it big,
Mm-hmm.
because they probably won't get a lot of
endorsements and
commercial opportunities in a lot of cases.
because you still see Hulk Hogan and stuff,
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, no.
I know. So now I need D1 and D3.
Okay.
But no, again, I mean, like, if you get lucky to do like a Snickers commercial, or you get lucky to do, a commercial for like Cricket Wireless or something, or any one of the number of different sponsors that they are doing at that particular time, that's additional revenue that you do get at the end of the day. But a lot of wrestlers at the end of the day will travel together. Like the New Day always travels together, and they always end up getting a room with 2 beds that somebody has to sleep on, either a pull-out sofa bed or a roll-away bed, and they switch with, and they rotate with who does what. And that is intentional because they want to, especially in some cases, they've got some of these wrestlers have kids, and they want to be able to support their kids, or they want to be able to
Send money home.
yeah. So You save money where you can.
But I mean, I will tell you, from my own experience doing something that requires physicality back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I do the AIDS ride, I'm back to back to back, is 80 to 90 miles a day on the bike. If you don't get a good night's sleep, if you don't get good rest, you're screwed.
Oh, absolutely.
So sleeping on a rollout would not be
ideal.
Yeah.
But in the case like the New Day, though, the way they do it is the New Day is unique because they are a tag team, but only two of them can fight at a time.
Okay.
And it's what they call the Freebird rule.
Okay.
And it comes from way back in the day where you'd have the Fabulous Freebirds.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd have three of them, but only two of them would ever wrestle at a time, and the third one would basically be like a manager at the end of the day. They'd be there on the sidelines, kind of cheering you on and making sure that you got that either they were helping out or maybe like interfering in some cases.
Okay, so and I have an interesting follow-up question to that.
Okay.
Okay, so Roman Reigns has the very vocal manager.
No, he doesn't.
Okay, who has it?
Brock does.
Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar has a very vocal manager named Paul Heyman.
Okay, so how many people have someone like that?
Well, we saw some of that actually here this week.
And who pays him?
No, he gets paid by the WWE.
Why?
Because he is a mouthpiece for the WWE.
Mouthpiece for Brock Lesnar, though.
Yes, but still for the WWE at the end of the day.
Okay. All right.
Because without his job at promoting Brock Lesnar at the end of the day, Brock Lesnar is still a very imposing beast, but he's not as imposing of a creature without Paul Heyman there to speak for him in a lot of cases. It's not that Brock can't talk at the end of the day, but the way his contract is that he doesn't have to if he doesn't want to.
Okay. He's special.
In more ways than one we'd like to admit.
Okay.
I really hope... okay, put this on properly. Okay. It looks like I'm going to need G13 now.
Where's H? G's also... That's F?
I think this is G right here.
Yeah. It's dark is what I remember.
Yes.
Okay, so G13, okay. I'm just trying to understand the financial model here.
It's it is a kind of an interesting thing here. Like, it would be really kind of interesting to see how it breaks down. Because keep in mind, I mean, depending on where your position is on the card, but also at the same time, how long you've been with the company dictates how much you get paid. So you could be a wrestler that's yeah, that looks about right. Yeah, that looks good. And now I need A9 and E12.
Nine.
Mm-hmm. I think we'll put this last arm together. We'll put this first arm together, and then we'll.
Okay.
And then I think we'll.
And E12.
And E12.
E12 is just like itty bitty square.
It's very tiny.
So
it would be kind of.
So they do the sort of road show.
Mm-hmm.
Just to fill some extra bank, and I guess if you're a big star, you probably don't have to do that. That's probably the smaller.
Nope. Even the top wrestlers go and do those.
But it's
shows.
not televised, so it can't be as profitable.
No, I mean, oddly enough, does fairly well from what I understand.
Now, do they have all the same apparatus? Because there were cameras overhead, there was lighting, huge time lighting overhead.
Where did you
There-
put that one piece at? I apologize. Ah, I see now. Okay.
There was the LED skirt on the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So those elements, no, they won't do all. They won't necessarily do all those elements.
so you're not. So the big stuff just moves to the televised venues.
Yes, but then they
Okay.
have smaller kind of.
Well, I mean that makes sense. That's so cool. Because the lighting's pretty spectacular. The lighting when they some of the lighting when they
Mhm.
come out.
Oh, absolutely. And then they have a smaller kind of stage element that still has the same lighting
Yeah.
on it. And then might have specialty lighting so they might hang up in the gym or wherever it is that they're, or the
There's
auditorium.
probably small auditoriums. Yeah.
We actually had New Japan Pro Wrestling come to San Jose here.
Okay.
And they were at the Civic Center.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and so it wouldn't be uncommon for the WWE to do something along the lines of that, maybe.
Oh, that's so cool.
But no, I agree. Like, it would be kind of interesting to see what the financial model and how it all works at the end of the day, because clearly it's somewhat of it's a profitable business at the end of the day.
But it's demanding too. I mean, it'd be like working for Ringling Brothers Circus, where you're constantly on the road. 300 out of 365, and
Mhm.
and that's
And that's before you take into account your flights to and from home,
yeah.
your own home, if you've got family, things like that. I mean, there are wrestlers who are very well known that, for example, there's a wrestling organization known as TNA. It's now known as Impact,
Mm-hmm.
and it ran out of Atlanta. It ran out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of wrestlers who were in that promotion lived in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
And because it ran out of Atlanta, Georgia, all their shows were taped in the same soundstage. And so the wrestlers just had to come into work, 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And they didn't do a lot of road shows at all. They just did, they mostly just did the televised shows. As where NXT, for example, is in Tampa, Florida. And a lot of wrestlers live in Florida now because they're so close to the Performance Center.
Yeah.
And so they bought houses near there. And if you buy a house, that's
Yeah.
it's a pretty worthwhile thing at the end of the day. You don't just
Yeah.
buy a house. It's like, I'll just buy a house here.
Yeah.
That's
It's
not,
an investment. Yeah.
it's very much an investment in the area. And having the Performance Center there as well is great for wrestlers because when they get injured, well, they can go home and then they have this rehab center, which is what
Yeah.
the Performance
Yeah.
Center does as well. And you get to go home every single day, and you can, when you're getting ready to start training again to get back into ring shape, well, the Performance Center is right there, and you have plenty of
Yeah.
opportunities there.
Yeah.
But no, again, I agree. I think the financial model would be kind of interesting to see how that works for the WWE, where a bulk of their cash comes from at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But it's certainly interesting. Alrighty, so we'll work on this Gundam guy here a little bit more here as time goes by. But I think next week we'll start talking about new topics.
Okay.
And so, if you want to, so the video didn't start quite right away, so I apologize. If you're watching we're going to put this on video on YouTube. So if you're watching it on YouTube, it should have eventually came up. Well, you would have watched it by now. So.
Yeah.
Apologies for the beginning portion of it. But on behalf of myself and Mom, thank you so much for listening to us. You can follow us on the blog here at the nerdtutorialpodcast.com, where we post all the show notes and all the additional supplemental material, as well as the podcast itself. We can continue the discussion on the facebook.com/nerd tutorial podcast, where we post the show notes and welcome any comments, critiques, and ideas for future topics. But if you want to reach me out on Twitter as well, we have nerd_tutorial on Twitter, and that's a great place to meet me as well. We're also following all the topics that we've done as well here, so you can keep up on any sort of news that may have happened in any previous topics we have. And on behalf of myself and my mom, we thank you so much for following us today. and we'll have a new topic next time.
Thanks.
Okay, have a good day.
Bye.